point out one minor typo, please?
The identify instead of the identity?
No,
Oh, you got
curriculum action
We're
plan.
not there yet.
Should we get to that, move on? Okay, Rick, you want to go through the curriculum?
Yeah, so there were a couple of changes to the curriculum action plans. In the first end result statement, in action step number 2, the core team was a little bit uncomfortable with how far, again, kind of a similar idea, how far we took with the presumption that the learning in depth program would be implemented through assigning each student one topic on which they will. So it was kind of, again, that the action step was too tactical, right? Too tactically worded, and that might, in fact, be what the team ends up doing, but we don't want to presume it.
That is the learning in depth program.
I'm sorry?
That is the learning in depth program. What you crossed out.
Yeah, so, well, so basically, again, that the team would review the learning depth program, decide how to implement it. Right? What?
I'll be there.
What's that?
Well, I think it makes sense to me, because to give them one topic over 8 years, that seems like it's too much to expect someone not to maybe change.
Well, so
But
that's the
point
whole,
is,
the
but we don't
point
know
was,
that, whether they would want to do it or they don't want to do
So
it. So I
right.
think by
Gives
taking
them
it
an
out,
option.
you're
Right.
giving.
Right, I think it makes sense.
that it's taking it down to the tactical level of, here's how you do it. Well, we want the team to be able to implement it in a way that we feel, that the team feels it wants to implement.
Have these been implemented in other places, or
I'm sorry?
has this program been implemented?
I'm not an expert on the learning in depth program. Meg, is Meg here?
Yes, it is.
For a while, it's tried and tested, and it's measurable and all that good stuff,
Yes.
because it seems kind of.
And this really, I mean, it really was around, I mean, the whole idea is around creating passionate learners.
Right.
The question is, specifically, is that the way that the district wants to approach it? Do we want to take the first grader, assign them, essentially ad hoc or at random a topic and say, okay, for each grade for the next 8 years, we're going to have you, become an expert in this topic in whatever way, you decide to explore it, whether it's through writing, whether it's through, determining the science behind it, or whatever your passion, particular passion is. All right. And then, so step number 4, basically the program is implemented, right, as opposed to saying specifically the learning depth program. And then action step number 5, the team felt it was covered under end result statement number 3.
I do have one question on this one. Karen kind of touched on it when she talked about measurement. Correct me if I'm wrong, but are we not supposed to implement any new program without having training as well as the means by which to measure it?
Correct, that's our,
Absolutely.
one of our delimiters.
That's,
So, for this particular program, then, would we be in a position, I mean, I realize all of the research has to be done first, so maybe I'm putting the cart before the horse. So maybe let it just suffice to say that I would expect before any new implementation is done, that we ensure that we have the appropriate training and we have the means by which to measure it.
absolutely. In
So
fact,
I'm
that's
just leaving with that.
that's our third.
Delimiter.
Yeah, it's just, I see year 2, the program is implemented, and I saw staff development, but yet I didn't see in these bullets measurement.
It seemed like to me a lot of time and money, and that's why I asked, has it been tried tested? Is it clearly measurable that we're making a difference? I mean, that's, and I know that that's upon the social level, and it's hard to put your arms around it, so I'm curious to learn more about it, I guess.
Well, actually, it's not just our delimiter, right? I mean, we have a specific third strategy.
Correct.
I was thinking of is that we'll set, monitor, and adjust the pace of implementation, right? So we don't do stuff that is going to, basically add a burden to the resources of the district beyond what the district's able to.
Yeah, and I think it's important to know that we've got a good track record of trying to measure passion in various ways, with maybe checkered success because it's such a difficult thing to measure. But if you look at what we attempted to do with our surveys and all that, it's not like we tried to do different things
Test
with it.
done, right? Well, look at those results, wasn't there a new test to measure?
That's SEL.
SEL.
That's also hard to measure.
Oh,
The most important things are probably the most difficult to measure.
all right.
But it doesn't mean we're not going to continue to try to do them. And this was after considerable research that this was a good goal to go down.
I kind of felt like there's three, your measure, that should almost be number one, but it doesn't, I guess it really
On the
doesn't.
phone.
When you go down to three, was it three, the reporting system, master your student home. It made a lot of sense to me.
Okay.
I just thought, that's a good, I can see that, but it's, it's one,
Well,
two,
these
three,
are all
doesn't
steps,
really
right?
matter, it's
No.
just steps.
Absolutely.
They're not right by important.
Right, that's after I kind of realized, they're all important.
Rick, anything further?
Just an addition in action, end result 3A. You can see an additional step number 7 includes grades for effort and supply.
And that was kind of talking about what they were talking about with the curriculum, right, that changing the report card that somehow measurable, put that out there, right? The same thing,
Challenge them.
to put it out there so we as parents can see it. To grade the efforts and handling.
Yeah. I should point out that, well, I'm not going to put that. I'll resist. Discussion in the future.
Anything else, Rick, from
That's
the,
it.
from the 14, or Mark, you as well, from the 14?
No, no,
Okay.
And I'd just like to point out that the passion that was demonstrated around this table this evening for every single word, there's not one casually chosen word in this. I mean, if you were on the action teams, you would have seen the same kind of enthusiasm, and that's, I think, a large part of it. Getting so many people involved, get our best thinking, has really had a good track record. And we're on to our second round of this now, and I think the action team members who are here, I know we have some communication team members, and stand up. You're on the communication action team, and you're in the audience. Why don't you stand up so we can? All right. Just seemed like we were talking about your baby. So anyway, in June we'll be formally approving this, and then we'll be scheduling implementation, and we're off and running. Okay.
Can I talk about my correction?
Oh, please.
And result number 1, item 3, the LA should be capital A. So that's a lot.
Got it. It's right here, LA.
So I thought it said love.
Okay. All right, next item. Next item is the expenditure for IDEA stimulus money. The board has been aware that this money kind of came quickly, and that we have very tight timelines on this. This is part of the federal stimulus effort, and the money is being funneled through the IDEA, which is Individuals for Disabilities Education Act. This federal law has been in place probably since the 70s, but it was where the federal government kind of hitched the wagon of this infusion of money. I can tell you that in my decades in education, I've never seen something exactly like this come, where all of a sudden there's this infusion of money and you're told to spend it as quickly as possible. It's very unusual, and I don't think this is something we're going to probably see anytime soon again. So what's happened with this is, because we've had very tight timelines, we've addressed this at the curriculum council level, the technology committee level, and at the building level. So we've got involvement of grade level teams. A lot of people have their fingerprint on it, and what we're recommending is the following: that we use a small amount of money of this would be for purchase services for OT and PT. That's for specifically special ed. Then some assessment tools that we use in special ed, easy IEP software,